Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday on teamTalks. Each episode we dive into the favourite book, habit or tool of our special guests. They share what inspires them and how it helped them grow personally and professionally. In this episode we dive into the path of transformation, exploring the impact of books, businesses and the decisions that shape success. So whether you're an entrepreneur, a creator or someone seeking inspiration, this bite-sized conversation is for you. I'm so excited today because I have Rachel Swann, one of my old uni mates, with me today. She's had a fantastic career, which you'll hear all about today, and the learnings. And it's fantastic to see where she's looking to go next as well. She's worked in rubber, packaging, laundry, die casts, digital marketing, gaming, sales, and is a business owner, as well as an advisor and a governor. And a mum, of course. So welcome, Rachel.
Lovely to see you, my love, again.
A great opportunity is to hear your words of wisdom again. And let us think about a book that you have.
Well, I'm going to do three. So, one is new, which is the menopause. Everything you want to know about the menopause, but too afraid to ask. And she is a journalist, and she produced and directed the Davina McCall menopause programs. I recommended this to so many people, including my GP, who was a little skeptical, and I've now found out is also recommending it to my friends in the village. And it's just a fact-accurate view of how menopause affects women, and it's the type of book that everybody should read, male, female, just in terms of the impact and effect, and also what you can then do around it. And I'm really not into self-help books, and I listened to this on Audible on 1.2, and it was brilliant, and I kept coming back to it, and things like, that's why that, and that's what I can do. So I totally recommend it. I appreciate people may roll their eyes, but I don't recommend many self-help books. The next one,
but I think actually what you brought up there is a great illustration of speaking to people in their own language. To have an understanding of the things that they're going through helps you in gender relationships. So yes, menopause might not affect you as a person yet or at all, but you chances are living with somebody.
And the stats of women leaving the workplace in their 50s through menopause are just horrific. So that's not just about us employers and colleagues and employees, where we're spitty. And she's a journalist who set up Moon Queenager. She's brilliant. She talks about this in terms of the stats as well. It's really salutary. It's definitely something we'll need to be aware of. So that's one book. Another book is by Jeff Morkel, and it's about sales and it's an approach. And I'll be completely honest, I haven't actually read cover to cover, but PDF summary is brilliant. And the overall approach talks about really finding your niche and your beachhead. And I thoroughly recommend it. I've skim read it several times, and I've read the PDF in multiple times, and I've done the work, but it's around literally find your real niche and build that beachhead, because so many businesses will get one or two clients and then fail. And then the third book is fiction, and it's just because I love crime fiction. And for anybody who's even vaguely interested in kind of it's Christopher Fowler, his series Bryant and May, and it's a pair of detectives who are in their age unknown, but 70s, 80s, and it's just so evocative. And particularly if you ever go into London, I'm based near Sheffield, so you don't often go in, but it changed how I looked at King's Cross and St Pancras. And just also in terms, again, how we view one of the characters, protagonist, I'm sure he's neurodiverse, potentially ADHD, never described as that, but just in terms of how you think about people and how you engage with people and what's going on in their background. So there you go. 3 for the price of 1.
Interesting, lovely. And lovely. And watch this space for a sheet on the Crossing the Chasm. So you'll see that on LinkedIn soon. So thank you very much. Brilliant. And what about a tool or a habit that you have relied upon or that you found has been really good for you in the past?
That's a hard one. I'm going to come back to actually this. It's a pen. I like a nice thin nib, black ink, and a nice notebook. And I think it's because, as you can probably tell, there's lots of things going off in my head. And I'm yet to find something. I found the habit of writing things down as they come in, middle of the night. I mean, who doesn't wake up at 3 a.m., sadly, and write those things down. It allows me then to segregate them into the right parts then when my brain's ready for them, whereas otherwise I forget and I keep myself awake trying to remember. And then during the day, I find that if I write something down, I remember it more and therefore I'm able to execute it a bit more. Probably not what you're on to expecting.
Not what you're on to. Well, I agree with you. I do the same. I put notes on my phone, because you can come back to them later and reflect upon them, and you have a series of notes that you look at.
Yeah. I find if I do them on my phone, though, this might be the HRT not being as effective as it could be. I find I then go off into other rabbit holes and other applications and things, so that the phone then consumes my attention. But I completely get it. You write it down, whereas for me, it's the physical act of writing. Now, there is a different question that my writing is so appalling that whether I can then subsequently read it, but we'll leave that there for another day.
Yeah, I can agree with you there on mine. What about future, though? Have you got any tools or apps or habits that you'd like
So I've kept a diary for a long time. But it's a very kind of couple of type piece. And what I want to do, and it's something you mentioned earlier on, which is journaling first thing in the morning. And what I tend to do is I'll tend to do a catch up of 4 or 5 days at a time. And it started really as a way of juggling everything. And so I could go back and just capture things that were happening to the family. And then you look back and so you've got various 5 years in a page, but I actually tend to only use it for 2 or 3 years at a time. But going back and oh wow, that was 2 years ago. That was a year ago. What I haven't been doing though is journaling in terms of what that then means going forward. And that's something that I keep toying with doing and thinking actually, what does that future look like? Because I think if there's something that somebody sat me down in my 20s and said to me, right, you're a language graduate, you've now gone into manufacturing, where do you expect to be age 30, 40, 50? And nobody did, and I didn't have the nous to think that through. Whereas now I'm 54. I would like to start envisaging a bit more where I'd like to be at 55 and 60 and 65, that kind of thing. So I think that's the tip and a tool I'm going to use. I think maybe the tool also is just planning. I'm with you. I didn't have that skill. I didn't have that self-awareness. And now I'm much more attuned to I remember very vividly being in Liverpool and looking at student houses and you saying that when you'd got your first house, you were going to have a sewing room. And that for me showed a level of planning and awareness that I didn't have. And it was going to be a room where you were going to do just your sewing in. And that stuck with me so vividly. Well, I have a sewing machine in a box in this room, but it's not out on display, so I haven't quite achieved the dream. But interesting. And that takes us nicely into the what advice or what. But I think it goes back to that. You can do it what you want. You don't have to listen to people who say you can't. I used to for a long time think that I hadn't been subjected to sexism. And I look back now. And think, right, okay, and what that does, it's not just necessarily sexist, but the slow of your own confidence. And I think if I'd known that actually I can do this, and people have actually got my back, then the things you can't change, though, can you? What's happened in the past, that's wasted energy. I think that's quite a powerful one, really. The other thing is that if I'd known when I first moved into SaaS that technical sprints don't need to be a Monday to a Friday, it would have saved so much time and effort and energy. So when I was working in a business, a good friend of mine, Tim, I know him through work, and we were delivering stuff for FMCG brands, schemes, Andrix, Puppy Points, Mixed IP Rewards, all this kind of thing. And I was just a bit fed up never delivering on time. That's not fair. Not delivering as on time as much as we could or should. And this is a classic example of a process and how you can just tweak the process. So the sprints are Monday to Friday, either weekly or fortnightly, and we just changed them from a Wednesday to a Tuesday. Oh my word. That revolutionized, So people were hitting the ground running, awful phrase, but the dev guys were able to do it. And then you've got your user acceptance testing would happen maybe on a Friday or Monday, because you never go live with software on a Friday. So it just revolutionized things, made them a lot happier, had a massive impact on the bottom line. So if I'd known that.
What fantastic value for Wisdom Wednesday. 3 books, 2 things you wish you'd known when you were younger, and lots of different bits and tools. Wow. Thank you so much.
As I knew.
Rachel Swann, you've been amazing.
Yeah.
And we can find you.
Yeah, we can. Thank you. I'd love to chat to people.
Thanks for joining this episode of Wisdom Wednesdays on teamTalks. Remember, small changes can define key decisions in your success. Until next time.